Iron in the Soul.
What's up, YouTube? This is Iron in the Soul. Back today with another very important message. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video, share this video, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about my content. In addition to that, please feel free to follow me over on Instagram at TheKingJabez, as well as my website, theironinthesoul.com, where you can book a consultation or order my book, Becoming Strong as Iron. It will be greatly appreciated. Well, man, let's do some work. I got a good one for you tonight. We're going to talk about God's army, or God's group of 144,000 men, Hebrew men to be more exact, that will be on monk mode retention in the last days. That's right, you heard me right. There will be an army of men, Hebrew men, according to New Testament prophecy, 144,000 men from the tribes of Israel, who will be virgins, which we refer to today in our terminology, in this community in particular, as men who are on monk mode seed retention. Let's do some work today. For those who follow my content, I did a video back in August, in fact, August 18th to be exact, where I went through my experience with 8 years of monk mode seed retention. Prior to getting on YouTube, of course, and prior to doing any of these videos, I had my experience with monk mode from the age of 20 to 28, where I was celibate. And, during that time, I accomplished so much. A lot of that is recorded in my book. I have a chapter in my book specifically on that topic, as well as the video I recorded on August 18th. So I will refer you to both of those documents, the book itself, as well as the video uploaded on YouTube. It's on my channel right now. 8 years of monk mode seed retention. That kind of gives my foundation and my experience with that. And so before I get into this topic and these men in particular, as I think back on my life during that 8 years, I experienced almost all of the benefits that are talked about online in this community. Iron and Soul, what are you talking about? The first one comes to my mind right off the top is mental clarity. Right, I'm going to just speak from the heart for a second. But I got some notes here. I got about 2 or 3 pages of notes. I have some books and verses. So I got a lot of work here to put out tonight. Before I get into my written notes, let me speak from the heart for a second. What did I experience? Right? Because that's the first thing people ask. Okay, great. Good for you. Because, some people scoff at that, but just something you should be impressed with. A person being able to keep themselves pure and celibate for 8 years, that's definitely an accomplishment in this modern world. And so the first benefit I could think about that was so clearly something I experienced throughout the 8 years, and that is mental clarity. Right off top, my mind was sharp. During that time, I finished close to 2 degrees. Right, I got my master's at age 30, but I was working on it at 28. So I finished and got my undergraduate at age 26. And I got my bachelor's at age 30. So that was a season of study for me. This is my personal experience. Not telling you what you should do. But for me personally, it was a time when I was really just reading consistently in deep reflection. And that's why even today I can so easily talk about these biblical matters, often without notes, because I spent years studying. By the way, when you listen to my YouTube videos, or anyone else for that matter, when you hear their talks, they're speaking, if they know what they're talking about, from hours of research, hours of study, hours of reflection, many books, classes. I went to workshops, I went to leadership conferences to accumulate that knowledge over the course of close to 10 years. So there was a lot of reading. There was a lot of reflecting during that time. Good decision making, especially in the area of my personal life. It was a time when I had a lot of physical strength. I was a slim guy in my 20s. I think I weighed 185, played college basketball, Division II for 4 years, by the way. So athlete, so I have that background as well. And, during that time, I was 185, 188 with gym shoes on. And I was bench pressing 305, at 188, 185. That's pretty impressive. Slim guy. So I know firsthand from my own real life experience the physical strength you will have as a man when you hold on to your seat. So if you're a guy listening to me right now, you are an athlete, listen to your big brother. If you play football, I'm talking to you now. Before I even get into my notes, we're just talking right now. right? I got some deep content. I want to kind of break the ice first because some of this stuff's going to be pretty heavy tonight. So kind of put your seatbelt on. Some of you are going to be uncomfortable. That's okay. So before I get into all of that, let me just talk to you for a second. You guys who are athletes, some of you guys who follow me on Instagram, football players, basketball, some of you guys box, some of you guys into mixed martial arts, some of you men play soccer, and a lot of you guys are powerlifters, which is also a sport. Some of you guys, a lot of us go to the gym, work out just to stay in shape. But some of you guys, few of you, I got my mind right now, it's about 4 or 5 guys who will follow me on Instagram. These guys are at an elite level, weight-wise. We're talking top 10% in the world. You know what I mean? So all of you guys who fall into that category, my athletes, my weightlifters, my basketball players, football, wrestling, mixed martial arts, soccer, baseball, hockey. Hopefully I don't leave anybody out. I got some of you guys play baseball. All top guys follow me on this YouTube content. So all of you young men in particular, retention will definitely give you a physical edge against your competitors. I'm going to leave that right where it's at. Okay? So I experienced that benefit, what? Of physical strength, stamina, mental clarity. One that a lot of you guys are interested in, and I understand that, we're all young men, is female attraction. If you are, this is common sense, right? You walk into a room, right? Speaking back on my experience when I was in my 20s, 20-something-year-old guy. At that time, I didn't have a beard, so I looked really young, clean shaven. I'm trying to paint a picture of young iron. Clean shave, clean cut, braces, back straight. You see where I'm going with this, right? 6'2", slim, playing basketball. Guess what? I had my share of female attraction, okay? So I know how to go, and even today, by the way, that hasn't changed. That happens even in public now when I'm picking my girls up from school. They still looking, okay? So I've learned from that how to experience that attraction and to do the right thing. I can say I had many opportunities to do the wrong thing. And I'm not here boasting. I'm here as your big brother again, giving you an example of what I did. In other words, I'm preaching by example. So I experienced a female attraction that, women want to be with you. Women coming on to you. It happened to me a lot in various environments. Of course, traveling, playing basketball games, that was part of it, of course. You know how that goes. Being in college around a lot of young women. Eventually getting to the workforce. Now I'm wearing shirts and ties as opposed to jeans. And now it was even more attraction now. So now I'm downtown Chicago. I'm painting a picture for you. Nice suit on. Josh Bank. Not saying it was the most expensive suit, but it was a nice suit. Several of those. Black polished shoes, haircut, cologne on. You get my point. And so I went through all of that. And I can say proudly that I never committed fornication that entire time. And we're going to see that God's going to have an army of men just like that in the last days. Men who will not defile themselves with fornication, sexual sin, and lust. And some of you right now I can feel your energy. You are already extremely uncomfortable. Relax. Don't get offended. Don't say, come on, I can't have a woman. No, I didn't say that. I got a woman. I've been with my wife close to 10 years. So don't start misquoting me. And nobody said that. I think it's good to not have a woman for a period of time. I will say that, to focus on yourself. I will definitely say that to any young man. Put yourself first. Then when you're ready, and that's something, that decision you have to come up with yourself, when you are ready, then you bring a woman into your life. That's how it works. You don't bring yourself to a woman's life, you bring her into your life, in my opinion, right? You set the stage, so to speak. You set the tone, the foundation, you're the leader. You get stuff set up for yourself, whatever that is, whether it be your work, where you live, car, all that good stuff, your spirituality, your character, your physical health. You get everything lined up, all your ducks are lined up. Put yourself first. And when you've done that, then it's healthy, normal, and appropriate to bring a woman into that. You guys follow me? So that being said, I experienced a female attraction during that 8-year streak. You're saying, all right, okay, what are some other benefits? You mentioned mental clarity. You mentioned female attraction. You've also mentioned your physical strength. What are the benefits that you experience? I was coming with this one. Spiritual growth. Just my overall understanding, of course. And of course, I was in school too, so that helped, obviously, in theology school. My understanding of God, angels, demons, humanity, spiritual warfare, the spirit realm versus the natural realm. So, of course, when you're a celibate, you're at a higher spiritual level, right? Your intuition is very high. You catch vibes very clearly, right? You have this strong aura and energy about yourselves that kind of just really aligns you with your purpose. It happens kind of organically. and you begin to manifest your goals and dreams and ideas more quickly. So that's another clear benefit, is that, I guess I gave you two just now, spirituality. And I would say to add to that, the fifth one will be just you manifest more quickly. Things just begin to happen for you. I started getting gifts in the mail to pay for trips to Israel. I was able to go to India. School was paid for. Someone gave me a car that was really nice, Buick Regal, leather interior. So I can say from my experience, the financial blessings just came. When you're in school and someone gives you a nice car, Buick Regal was a 20-some-year-old guy, no note on it, clean leather interior. School was paid for through a work scholarship, working in a print shop. Traveling to Israel at age 25, traveled to India at age 26. So I can look back over that time, and there was consistent blessings. Traveling, playing basketball, going to different states, Florida, Michigan, Iowa. So it was definitely a time when I enjoyed being single, right? So I want to talk to you guys who are single. Since we talk about these guys, 144,000 guys, it's okay to be single for a period of time. It's okay to live your life, enjoy playing sports, whatever you might want to do. Get yourself into elite shape, traveling, seeing something besides your city. And if nothing else, go to another state, go somewhere and see the world, right? And enjoy your young manhood before you take on the responsibility, of course, of being a husband and father. And we're going to talk about that in the future anyway. But before you get into all of that, it's okay to be by yourself for a while. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So those are some of the few benefits, and you want to have a more detailed explanation of that, you can go back and watch that entire video, which I uploaded August 18th, which is about, I think, 25, 30 minutes. It's worth a listen. And also my book, where I talk about it in detail in my book in one particular chapter. So that was my experience. And so now that I've laid that foundation, let's get to what you came here for. Let's talk about these 144,000 men. Who are these guys? 144K, an army. I want you to envision it. That's a large amount of people. 144,000 men who will in the last days be on monk mode, seed retention, following God wherever he goes. Let's do some work. Now, let me take you to the book. This Iron and Soul. Somebody already know. Come on now. You know how I do this. You know I'm taking you to the book. You knew that was coming, right? Especially with a topic like this. So let's talk about these guys. We have Revelation. I know you're uncomfortable. Calm down. You hear Revelation. Okay, come on, Iron. Relax. Let me say this for a second. Revelation 14, 1-4. Let's read. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harps, harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts, and the elders. No man could learn the song but the 144,000, which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. They are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. May the God himself, the Most High, add a blessing to the hearer and the reader of his word. So let's break down, guys, what we just read. 144,000 Hebrew men will be on monk mode, retention, in the last days. Mount Zion is a high place, and for a practical application, this speaks of elevation. When you are on retention, and in this case, monk mode retention, this takes you to a high place. This will elevate you to your higher self, as is said in some circles. You think about the chakra system, which a lot of people have a problem with using the word chakra. Okay, energy centers, energy points within the human spirit, which is very clear from my research and studying theology. This is something that the prophets understood very clearly. This is also why I have a message, by the way. You can go to my other content where I talk about the 7 spirits of God in alignment with the 7 spirits of men. Okay, and I'll break that down thoroughly. And so when you're doing retention, you are in your higher self. You're not in your root chakra. You're not in that lower version of yourself that thinks about only pleasure, lust, desire, feeding the flesh or the old nature or the lower self. When you're at this place, you are like, in this case, Mount Zion, it's a high place. You are connected to the Most High God. That's what we see here. This retention discipline, of course, in alignment with their faith, of course, obviously, their faith in the Messiah, Yeshua, and following him wherever he went. So when you are living sexually pure, this brings a divine closeness to the Most High God. Is that clear? Didn't I say that already? You will automatically understand God better. You will pray better. You will understand the word at a higher level. You will have a greater appreciation for the spirit world as well as the natural world. This is what they teach in theology as natural revelation, right? As well as the written revelation. You follow me? Okay, we're going to teach a little bit here. You mind if I teach a little bit, guys? The written revelation is, of course, the word of God. That is a written, revealed word of God to humanity. And then you have the natural revelation, which is what? What we see every day. The earth itself, the creation, the grass, the trees, the sky. You follow me? The birds in the air, the sun, the moon. We see a natural revelation that there is a God. So in other words, when we look at life itself, we come outside, that picture of life should be enough for you to think, you know what, there has to be a God. This is why the scripture says we are without excuse if we say there's no God. Why is that? Because this whole earth proves that somebody created this. So if you don't make a decision, sir, to figure out who this God is, the creation itself stands as a witness against you. You draw? You follow me, guys? So these men are in a high place where they're connected to the Most High. They have the Father's name written on their foreheads. What does that mean? That means that they have God all over them. You follow me? There are certain men who you see them, you say, you know what, I can see God all over you. There's a light that you have. They say this in the retention community. What do we call it, guys? You already know. We call it what? The glow. You have this aura about yourself. You look like a man on a mission. I'm just saying what people have said to me over the years. I mind my business sometimes. People say, you know what, man, you look like you're a man on a mission. Now, I'm not boasting, I'm teaching. Your vibe says that there's something different about you. You can't hide it. So when you're doing this, when you're on retention and living this type of lifestyle and praying and living right, you have a life about yourself that people gravitate to. They will see something in you. It gives them hope. It gives them encouragement. They want to talk to you. Why? Because it helps them to feel better about themselves. That's the power of influence. When you can influence people for good, that puts you in a position to do good for God and for yourself. So this gives you a light. We see also that they sung a new song. And hasn't that been mentioned also, guys, in the retention community? What have we talked about? Creativity, right? After about 40, 50, 60 days of retention, your creativity is at a new level. I think a great example of this, in my humble opinion, is the artist formerly known as Prince. Prince was a highly creative person, right? Created, hundreds of songs. I think Prince played, we're talking 25 to 30 instruments, okay? Singing, dancing, the whole nine. He was a person. We talk about music and art, he had it. I'm not saying I agree with all the lyrical content, and we're not getting to debate with that. That's debatable, of course. But in terms of the talent itself, it was undeniable. And Prince is someone who has been on record talking about celibacy. He never said retention, but that's what he's talking about. And he understood that there is a sexual transmutation that helped him with his music. You can't tell me that Prince wasn't helped by retention when he did Purple Rain. Come on now. I mean, the acting, the dance moves, the music, the creativity, that was a musical classic for many people. I mean, he was 26 years old when he did it, by the way. He was a young man, 26 years old, when Prince did Purple Rain. And that album put him on the map forever. And I'm almost convinced, I don't know, of course, but I'm certain he was on retention for part of their project. Why? The creativity was developed. So you guys, right now, this is a piece for you guys who do music. This is for my rappers. I'm coming for everybody today. I got everybody today. I got you. I'm your big brother. I got everybody. I got my rappers. I got my singers, my models, my athletes, my thinkers. I got all you guys. You hear me? Huh? All y'all. Businessmen, actors, singers, dancers, barbers, tradesmen, guys who just do hard work every day. This is for every guy. You follow? I hope you're motivated. I'm excited about this. I hope you're excited about this. Are you excited, guys? Am I giving you some hope? So, retention will increase your creativity, spirituality, life, joy, and a power about yourself. Huh? So where did this come from? We see in verse 4, it says, these were they that defiled not themselves with women. And because of this, this made them what? Elite. Seed retention, no FAP, celibacy, whatever word you want to use, if any of that bothers you, will make you an elite man. Mark my word. I'm not talking about just for a week or two, guys. If you can do this long term, consistently, and make it a way of life, this will most certainly distinguish you from other guys. Now, of course, you got to do the work. That's obvious. But I think this will give you the fuel, the power, the motivation, the creativity, the strength, the mental clarity, the ability, basically, to get things done, to get out here and make it happen. Are you encouraged? So because of this, they followed the Most High wherever he went. In other words, wherever they went, God was with them. This is what happens when you're a man like this. And by the way, these are the type of men we should be in the last days. We are in the last days, sir. So we should be doing this now. We should be out here, what? Retaining our seed. Being pure, righteous men. Spreading the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, the Messiah. Sharing our faith. Letting our light shine by the way we live our lives, not just by what we say, but what we do. You know? And so, lastly, it says they had a purity in their speech. When you are in retention, it will change how you communicate. In other words, this practice will eventually purify your tongue. You will find yourself cursing less. Am I talking to you? You will find yourself telling less lies. I'm talking to you now. Because, you know, we commit a lot of sin with our mouths, by the way. By lying, cursing, threatening folks, you know what I mean? At times, gossiping, slandering. There are so many sins you can commit with your words. Gossip, slander, backbiting. You understand? Just, tearing people out. Some of you guys doing that, you need to stop doing that. Some of you guys get online. I'm gonna get on your bumper real quick. You go online and you just spew venom. Some of you keyboard warriors, man. That's you get online every day. That's all you get to look forward to. Yeah, nothing going on in your life, by the way. Put that out there real quick. So you get online just to shade people who you think are trying to do something. If you got time to comment on 10 to 15 YouTube channels, venom, you're off. You're wasting time. Men who are productive and making moves, I guarantee you, they're not doing that. Right? So, what am I saying? Retention will eventually purify your tongue. You'll stop all that cursing. You'll stop all that venom you're doing online. Being a jerk in some cases. Let me say it flat out. And you know you're being one. You can't control yourself. It's just in you. Why? Your spirit's not right. You're off. Right? You got an off spirit. You got the Holy Spirit and you're off. So what retention does, it gets you back what? In alignment. It gets your mind right, right? It gets your heart right, your body right, your speech is right. And you will be transformed, what? In your character, in your conversation, your conduct. You will convert people, right? Because that's what these men are going to be doing in the last days. They're going to be converting people over to God because of their purity and their power. As I mentioned, these men are Hebrew men. They are from the tribes or the children of Israel. We see that in Revelation 7 verse 4. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of what? Israel. So these are Hebrew men, an army, 144,000 men in the last days. And this will be during the tribulation period. So now we're going to transition now a little bit. I'm not going too deep into this because this will require another hour talk, to be honest, to break down eschatology. It's just a theological name for end times. So now we're talking about end time prophecy now. So let me break this down briefly. You have, in terms of the next events on the Most High's prophetic calendar, the next event, according to my belief system, is the rapture, which is essentially when the Messiah will return from heaven himself. He will call up the church to heaven. They will be called up. There will be a rapture. And then there will be ushered in eventually a 7-year tribulation period. During the 7 years, the purpose of the tribulation period is to fulfill that last week of the 70th weeks. And each week was representation of 7 years. Okay? So it's a purpose of fulfilling that last week. And it's a judgment against the nation of Israel for their rejection of the Messiah. Okay? It's a judgment against the nation of Israel for the rejection of the Messiah. But during that time, these 144,000 men will be on the earth preaching the gospel. And men and women, I believe thousands, if not millions, will be inspired by this, will be moved by these men who are, of course, once again, on monk mode retention, virgins, pure men, full of God's Spirit. They're going to be on fire, right? They're going to be on fire for God. And God's going to use them, and people are going to believe in the faith because of that. Because why? During that 7 years, it's going to be so bad, people are going to wish they can die. People are going to be hurting. It's going to be devastating. It's going to be the worst time probably ever in human history. And so during this time of trouble and trials and pain and affliction, these men will be busy doing the work of the Most High God. How does that apply to today? I'm glad you asked me. We are in tough times now, we're not? You know, I also got a phone too, right? It's bad out here. I can just talk to you from what I've seen online myself the last week. There was a lady who was robbed, and I think it was broad daylight at the ATM, thrown down to the ground. The lady is paralyzed now. I mean, that's the level of cruelty that's out here on the earth right now. This man, a weak man at that, by the way, to do something like that to a woman, you're a weak man. Paralyzed this woman, robbed her of several $1,000s. Okay? Young man was murdered in cold blood down in Mississippi. Race-related, of course, according to documents. They're saying it's not, but it was, obviously. You have wars in different countries. People are struggling to provide food and shelter and clothing for their families. There is just this all-out brawl when we talk about gender wars between women and men. That's like so obvious. And, you know, I'm a guy that has the opportunity to pretty consistently go to the barbershop as well as the beauty shop. Of course, I go to the barbershop to get my taper, beard lined up, and get myself cleaned up there. And then I go to a beauty shop to get my hair braided. You guys know I've been on a hair growth journey now for over 3 years. I've talked about that a lot in my previous videos. I might do another one in the future if you want one of those, by the way. Let me put that out there. If you want another video on hair and beard growth, let me know. We're going to touch that topic too. So going up to, get my hair braided. And my point of saying all that is this. Get my hair braided around the women and being around men in the barbershop. The men pretty much consistently talk down on women in the barbershops. And the women in the beauty supply are talking down on men. So if you let the opposite sex tell it, the problem is always the opposite sex. Okay, if you talk to a bunch of guys, it's these women. If you talk to a bunch of women, it's what's wrong with these men? These men are messed up. So what am I saying? We're in these last days where there's an all-out brawl with humanity. Gender wars, man against woman, woman against man, race against race, financial problems, murder, crime. We are living in a very living, active spiritual war. And in the midst of this spiritual war, guys, which is so real, God is right now raising up an army of men. Mark my word. There's an army being raised up before our eyes, guys. And who knows, you may be a part of that. You never know. You may be a part of that. You don't know who God has. You may be a part of that, sir. Let me give you that piece real quick. I'm not gonna push that on you. Let me just drop that on you real quick, sir. You might be a part of that. You may very well be from one of these lost tribes. You don't know that, but God knows who you are, and he'll reveal it to you in his time. You dig? So, in these last days, we need to be a part of God's army. That's what I'm trying to say. We need to be those men who are retaining, while other guys, let's talk about it. Guys out here, man, they out here wilding out. They wilding. I was at the barbershop today, get my beard lined up and my hair trimmed. I tell you what, The guys there the whole time talking about women. Going online to these websites, and I'm going to go online to this Filipino.com. They're in there cutting up. One guy said, I don't care if she speaks English or not, as long as she can bend over. That's how these guys talk. So that's the type of time most guys are on right now. Just wild, lay down with anything. Anybody, don't care. And when you as a man can see all that energy and know it's right there for you, for the taking, okay? And you say, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm on a different type of time. Don't you think God's going to honor that and bless you? I think so. As a matter of fact, I know so. So we have to be the type of men in these last days, by the way, who make a decision to honor the lamb and the lion, right? Which is manhood, by the way. Manhood is both tender and tough, just like the Messiah, who was referred to as what? The lion and the lamb. You understand? We have to be the type of men that the lion and the lamb can use in these last days. We want to be men that God can use. So guys, as I wrap this up, this will be about, to my estimate, about a 30-minute video. I want you guys to listen to all of this. I trust this will be, if you have made it this far, I know this has been a blessing to you. So what's my goal with this? My goal with this is that you will be inspired to be a man who joins this community. Says, you know what, guys? You know what, Iron? I'm going to progressively, over time, over 6 months to a year, get control over my sex urges. Not deny them, because that doesn't work, by the way. Embrace it, because guess what? Having sex urges, waking up on hawk mode, we've been here talking, that's a sign that you're healthy. So we're not saying to deny that. We're saying to wake up with that energy, with that sex drive as a healthy young man, as you should, by the way, and say, you know what? I'm going to take all this energy, boom, I'm going to redirect it to my business. I'm going to redirect it to the gym. I'm going to take a cold shower. I'm going to read this book. I'm going to go crank out this shift at work for 4 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours. You get my point? I'm going to take that drive I have that's been given to me by God, all that energy, and boom, I'm going to put it to something productive as opposed to just wasting it for a moment of pleasure. You follow, guys? So, guys, I think I've said enough. Please leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done it already. I would greatly appreciate that. This is your brother Iron and Soul. Thanks for listening. God bless. Peace.